Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the real sky. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I'm Dr. Danny. I'm a physician, I'm an astrologer, I'm a mystic, I'm a philosopher, and an author. But most of all, I am just a spirit wandering this world, wondering how everything is made and why we are here. And I transitioned from tropical astrology to true sky astrology probably about 5 years ago now. And what a profoundly amazing transition that was for me because I found out my true rising sign. And then after that, I realized who my real chart ruler was. And that blew the doors open for me for everything. And that chart ruler is Venus. Now, not everyone has Venus as their chart ruler, but following the energy of Venus, knowing where it is in your chart, what kind of Venus is it? Where is it? What house is it in? Is it a morning star? Is it an evening star? Is it retrograde? Is it direct? All of these things play into how you create, how you manifest, and how you love. Venus's symbol is literally spirit into matter. It's the circle and then the cross. So it's letting spirit experience the physical world through sensation. And so today we're going to talk about Venus, Venus through Aquarius. I'm going to give you 8 different ways to look at Venus. It's going to blow your mind. Then we will get to the astrology because this is such a special time for the Venus cycle. All of you that are here are that maybe don't even realize it yet are in for an amazing journey as we follow this planet through her cycle, which started just 1 month ago. So, welcome everyone. Welcome in. I'm so excited to see all of you. I miss all of you. Social media isn't so exciting when everybody's doom scrolling about Epstein. Oh my gosh, what a wild world we live in. What a wild world. Let's put you guys on the screen. You guys know I don't really talk about the news all that much on my channel because it doesn't matter for what we do. And frankly, what I believe shouldn't matter to you either. And I don't really care what you believe as long as you're living your best life, living your code, um, and doing what you're here to do. So let's see. All right. Let's see, who do we have here? We have committed energy. Isn't she adorable? So patient with us. Esther Lee is an aquarium in tropical. I know that was a typo, but that makes me laugh because I just see you as a fish in the tank. All right. Let's see. Lori's here. Lori, thank you so much for being here. Lori and I are ramping up for Stellar Foundations, which is starting on Monday night this spring semester. We're going to go 16 weeks. I can't wait. I reorganized everything in Stellar Foundations. You now have like 13 gates, doorways that you can walk through. And then you have all the technical modules in one spot. And each time we meet for office hours, we're just going to layer on a whole new level of meaning and how to look at the energy. So I'm really, really excited to get started with you guys. If you haven't signed up yet, it's not too late. It's not too late. The link's below. All right. And I saw fellow traveler in here somewhere. at Jennifer. There she is. Hello, friend. Good to see you. And then, of course, Ultimus is here. Thank you so much, Ultimus, for being here. Astara Lee was a silent follower for a long time, and I guess now she's a vocal follower. That's beautiful. Goldie Rum is here. And Ultimus says, "Darn, I wish she'd opened with the theme song." Well, this is Venus. We'll check out at the end with that song. But I wanted you guys to really get into the mood of Venus because when she moves through Aquarius, it's a completely different energy from the gritty, earthy, sort of rules her world legacy type of Venus energy. This one's much more it's electric, it's faster, it's more mental, it's friendlier. So I'm going to read to you a little transcript that I wrote for Venus in Aquarius for both Morning Star and Evening Star. We have a lot to talk about today, you guys. I mean, if you want to literally break your own timeline, you need to start living on Venus's clock. And what I mean by that is when I throw these calendars up in the community page and you start to get into each transit and what that means for you, it's subtler energy. You do have to pay attention to it. If you don't, then sometimes things sort of snap and break and go the wrong way. Hang on, let me clear my throat. And I think that all of this chaos energy around us right now, and you guys know what I'm referring to, the Epstein list, the governments, all the crazy things that are going on. That is chaos. That is chaos that has been delivered to you so that you can consume it and have a reaction to it. We talk a lot on this channel about reaction versus responding. I think if you do your astrology with response, you're going to live a much more graceful and soul-guided life rather than sort of chancing it and reacting to whatever comes into your field, especially right now, especially if you watch social media, if you watch the news, if you watch TV. If you don't, congratulations, because you're at a whole other level. You're not worried about that stuff. You know that stuff's all going to work itself out, that chaos cycles come and go, that you can kind of be aware, but you don't necessarily have to get emotional about anything that's going on. And don't get me wrong, y'all, there's some really bad stuff out there that I mean, anybody with a heart that's compassionate, that cares, is feeling something, feeling some kind of grief. But again, that grief is yours. Unless you're, connected to that energy in some personal way. Most of us are not. It's just on display for us to react. And when we do, we do things that make us vulnerable for being impressionable, being lied to, having the wool pulled over our eyes, not being able to discern what's real or not real. I mean, if you ever feel like the illusion just keeps falling away and then there's another illusion that falls away, it's like, first we had this perfect vision of what our country and our government was going to be like, and then Trump came and said no, it's not going to be like that, and everyone was all about Trump, and now that mask is coming down, and there's just it just keeps the masks keep falling. There's always going to be some kind of illusion or deception energy out there, and we don't have to engage with it. We can see it, but we don't have to engage with it. And so I'm offering you this way to look at Venus. Like, so if you're mathematical, I'm going to show you that. If you're into energy, I'm going to show you that. If you understand the fourth dimension, this will blow your freaking mind. If you love astrology, I'm going to show you that. If you love space, I'm going to show you all of that. And then we're going to look at the transits for the next couple of weeks with Venus so that we can move through that energy better. Like queens and kings that we are, without all the reaction and the necessary grief that isn't ours. Let's see. Laura's here. Hello, love. Little Homestead Berry is here. The plan for them to feed off our reactions, lowering energy instead of high vibe. That's exactly right. And this is what Aquarius energy is about. Venus is going to move into Aquarius in about 2 days. So we can really start to kind of take that high vibe route if we want to. She's also going to go over the North Node, which is in Aquarius, which is about, kind of a resonating energy, vibration energy, being in the space of, love and compassion rather than greed and guilt and victimhood. We have Quantum Mania from New York City, and I think I saw Beth here. Harmony Goddess, there you are. Hello, darling. At Nature's Place, they want you dysregulate, absolutely. But we don't have to let them do that to us, do we? No, we don't. It's so funny, the memes that I put together for this Venus intro video that I do, it it had all those celebrities with the eye being shown. It's like the age of celebrities is over. I don't even remember the last time I watched a Grammy or an Oscar awards ceremony. They just got ridiculous, like, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 years ago. I just stopped. Do any of you still watch those shows? I'm curious. I don't even know who's famous anymore. They all became people I just didn't watch, so I stopped watching it. Cool. All right, so let's see. I kind of sideways mentioned stellar foundations as an announcement. For those of you, the show, guys, is brought to you by your channel members. They are supporting this work, and so the work that I'm disciplined to do, they support that. So I have kind of the free time to do these fun explorations, and a lot of the videos that the members get are first looks. So they'll get the new moon eclipse video tomorrow. That's ready to go. But next week it'll come out for everybody else. There's also some exclusive membership videos in there. Like there's a whole talk on the Phoenix angle. The presentation I did with the Sidereal Summit is in there. The Hellenistic workshop that I did with ISAA is in there. A whole bunch of other things are in there that you guys can check out. Also meditations. So we are having our new moon meeting, our Zoom call on the 15th around 5 o'clock, I think. So I will post an announcement about that next week as we get closer to that date. So I'm looking forward to talking about that with you. The eclipse is a big deal. It's another portal that we get to go through astrologically and energetically. So we'll talk about that in great detail. The video also goes through that in your rising signs. Let's see what else. We have a lot of podcasts coming up next week, you guys. I'm recording a podcast with someone at noon on Monday, and then we start Stellar Foundations. Tuesday is my husband's birthday. Wednesday, I'll be on Archaics. Thursday, I'll be on Ascend the Matrix. And then Friday, I have a hospital shift. So that's my week next week. So stay tuned for all of that. I'll be sending you guys announcements. So good to see you. We have 23 here. That's pretty good. I think the Venus content is developing quite a robust following. It's amazing. It's magic. It's magic here on Earth. And I'm going to explain some really, maybe they're not difficult. Maybe you guys are smart enough to get it. I think you are. That's why, when I come up with ideas, I just kind of let spirit give them to me. And a lot of times, especially this one, I was like, this might be too complex. And I said, well, maybe not, because if it came to me and I can explain it, then there's someone that needs it, that there's someone who can understand it. And maybe it will help you understand astrology, the universe, and energy just a little bit better. Archaics will be on the 11th, so next Wednesday. Yep. So come say hi over there and support us in the Archaics chat. Their community is very lively, very fun. Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. We are going to decode the universe, I'm pretty sure, between the two of us, between his calendrics and my numerology. I'm pretty sure we can figure it out. All right, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and open this presentation and get into it. I've put everything into a very simple, very basic presentation. I don't want your mind wandering off with all the details of beautiful graphics. I want you guys to really just kind of take in the amazing beauty of this planet, the synchronicities that are around it, what it will actually explain to us when I show you the cycle. This is one of the most detailed presentations I will be giving on the Venus cycle. So if you guys want to share it with people, that would be amazing. If you're watching and you're loving this, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Join the channel if you want to, and we'll get into it. So we'll share the screen. I'm going to share the entire screen and click that. And there we go. All right, good. So we'll hide that. All right. I would like to read all these names, but I'm going to skip that maybe till the end. I just want to recognize the channel members individually. We're getting to a big crowd, and I'm loving this. And I hope all of you come to this Zoom call, this Stargazers meeting, because you're it's for you. You know, if you have a question about your chart or your astrology, I encourage you to come. Sometimes we get into some deeper topics. Sometimes I talk about things I don't really want to talk about on the public YouTube. So, it might be a good spot to show up. All right, y'all, here is what we're talking about today. This is mostly Venus in Aquarius, but I want you to see Venus in all the possible ways I could think of. I want you to see her from a solar system view. I want you to see her from both heliocentric and geocentric views. I want you to see an earth sky view. I want you to see the chart. I want you to see a time map. I want you to see an energy wave. I want you to see a calendar wave. I want you to think about this fourth dimensionally. And then I want to give you Venus in Aquarius. So let's get into Venus in Aquarius. This is the only sort of visual that I really have for the presentation, but I want you to like gaze into her eyes as I read to you her beautiful energy. Venus in Aquarius is the genius of creation. She is the quickening pulse of inspiration, the lightning strike of innovation, the sacred spark of something entirely new. She does not love for tradition. She loves for evolution. In this sign, Venus becomes the initiator of collective beauty, erotic freedom, and revolutionary love. She is aroused by difference, ignited by change, and drawn to whatever shatters the mold. This Venus is not ruled by the heart alone. She loves with her whole mind. She is the breath of cool air after fire, the vision that arrives before the world is ready, the edgewalker, the world builder, and the muse of the future. Her attraction is magnetic because it's uncontainable. She does not follow the rules of desire. She rewrites them. Venus in Aquarius is passionate about newness. She finds beauty in the unknown, in the strange, and in the unexpected encounter. She is the artist who paints in symbols, the lover who needs space to expand, and the sacred connector who sees potential in everyone. Her love is not possessive. It is liberating. She does not bind. She awakens. Her soul tribe is her temple. She seeks those who match her frequency, those willing to co-create a new paradigm. For Venus in Aquarius, love is an experiment in consciousness, a pleasure of minds, a fusion of energies. Her heart beats in rhythm with the future. She is here to remind us that love is not just for comfort, it is also for growth. When blocked, Venus in Aquarius may become unpredictable in her expressions of love. She may cling to independence to avoid vulnerability, or hide behind intellect to avoid intimacy. Her resistance often arises when she becomes too attached to a fixed identity or routine. Yet, even in her detachment, she is being taught. She is not meant to stagnate. She is meant to evolve. When Venus is direct in Aquarius, her love is electric, progressive, and visionary. She is drawn to what is unusual, what is awakening, and what calls her beyond the known. Direct Venus in Aquarius seeks freedom in relationship, thriving when connection feels expansive rather than restrictive. She is aroused by innovation, inspired by collective ideals, and devoted to the beauty of what is yet to be born. Her love is a frequency that uplifts, liberates, and rewrites the rules of intimacy. So now we have a evening star, Aquarius Venus, on Saturday. So this starts on Saturday and it goes all the way until the 22nd of February. So if you guys have If you know what house your Aquarius is in, I can give you some house energy in a little bit when we do the Q&A at the end. So just go ahead and check out your charts and see where Aquarius is, because this energy is moving into your house, whatever house that is for you. So, for example, this is my 10th house. So, this Venus is moving into my 10th house, which means that uh, this is the energy of the beacon. Venus in Aquarius here radiates brilliance through vocation, vision, and leadership, seen as innovative, ahead of your time, and compellingly different. When blocked, you may fear losing uniqueness in the face of success or feel too rebellious to be visible. So now we have Venus transiting through Aquarius. The collective heart will turn towards the future. We are sparked by new ideas, inspired by innovation, and magnetized by difference. Love becomes experimental, beauty becomes eclectic, connection becomes a matter of resonance rather than convention. This is the quickening. During this transit, we are called to love bravely and strangely, to release outdated scripts and try what we've never tried before. Friendships deepen, communities will form, and breakthroughs arrive in both heart and your field. Venus in Aquarius reminds us that love is not only a feeling, it is a transmission, it is a frequency, a way of evolving. So we are being asked to remember our role as the lightning rod, right? This is energy to quicken the pulse of the collective, to let the lightning strike, to let the frequency change you. So that's what we're doing these 3 weeks or so, I guess, with Venus in Aquarius. And so I made a bunch of little videos for you guys so that we can just watch Venus move a little bit. But let me just check the chat and see if you guys have houses, where your houses are. All right, so little Homestead Barry has Aquarius 7th and 8th house. So this is going to be partnering with the future, choosing relationships based on shared vision, intellectual connection, and freedom to grow. So you're going to love in a way that liberates both you and the other. And when blocked, you may fear commitment or attract available partners. So go ahead and throw your houses up there, guys, and I will read those in a little bit. Okay, so the solar system view. Now, I know some of you don't like the solar system, and I'm cool with that. Just like I don't like the flat earth. You guys should be cool with that. We just have different perspectives. Like, don't worry about it. I like the solar system view because it has been developed through some very complicated advanced mathematics that take decades to learn and master, that help us actually predict where stuff is. And it's very, very accurate. Okay. And there's no other system that does that for me other than this system. So I'm open to all systems, but this is what is available for us to make predictions. But it's nice to kind of pick up the whole idea of how we view the heavens and look at it from all different angles. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So we have the heliocentric view. And I basically made y'all a little movie here, if this will play. Here we go. Using my OBS. And y'all have seen this before. I always play this. This is going to be the geocentric one. So here's Earth in the middle, there's Sun, there's Venus. So this might be what we would see if we were hanging out above the Earth and the Sun was moving around. And I want to pause it right here because I want you to see this. Do you see this spiral right here? This is the Fibonacci spiral, or the golden spiral. It is born out through the Fibonacci sequence. And this is what's going on always with Venus. She's always winding up and then winding out of them. So let's continue. So winding out, and you see another Fibonacci spiral. This right here is the superior conjunction. We just had this on January 6th. And that is why Venus is a baby evening star. We can't even see her yet. Probably by the eclipse, we will be able to. Probably by the time that moon comes up as a crescent moon, we'll see Venus right on the western edge of the sky as the sun sets. So when we get to October, we will have this energy. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in 8 different ways. This is the first way. We'll just finish this. So in 8 years, Venus goes around Sun from Earth's perspective 13 times. And creates this five-petaled star. So we have 5, 8, and 13, which are Fibonacci numbers. And I'm gonna show you a way to look at this star that will literally blow your mind when we talk about Venus from the 4th dimension. It kinda came to me, and it's something I've always understood, but really I just have trouble figuring out the words to describe it. And I think the graphics I developed will help at least open the door for some of you. So this is that star. This is what we're doing with Venus energy. Where this is why the pentagram is considered evil, because it's so powerful. Because this is literally how like stuff is created: spirit into matter, energy into matter. So when we go into, let me see how we did with this one. This one's the same one. No, okay. Here's the solar system view. So we're just going to watch these. This time frame. You're going to see how it is moving forward in time, and we're zoomed way out. So we're going to zoom into the inner solar system where Venus and Earth and Mercury and Sun dwell, and we're going to watch these movements. And I think it takes you through the end of the year, where you can see the inferior conjunction of Venus and Earth. This is the heliocentric viewpoint. So this is viewpoint number 2. This is how most people model reality beyond the Earth's firmament. And it doesn't bother me if you guys don't believe this. This is just a very good model for predictions. So this will be the October 23rd inferior conjunction. This is the peak of the Venus cycle. And you notice how space is so slow, like from our earthly perception of linear time. Like these cycles they happen. They're long, drawn out cycles that take millions of years to complete, thousands of years to complete, hundreds of years to complete. In the case of our moon, 30 days to complete. But they're still cycles. And what are cycles? Cycles are frequencies, right? One revolution, one up and down and back again, is a cycle. It's a frequency. And that pattern that you watched Venus do with her orbit is the same energetic pattern, mathematically and frequency wise, that creates these patterns in shells and flowers and galaxies. This Fibonacci sequence right here, the golden rectangle creates the golden spiral. And you see it here. These, if you were to go around and count these petals, they would all be Fibonacci numbers. We see it in like I said, embryos also. I mean, it's just everywhere. It's everywhere. This is the golden phi is the code of creation. So we've already seen it in 2 views. We've seen it from the geocentric, where Earth is the middle and Sun spins around the Earth. What that looks like, that draws the phi. When we look at it from the heliocentric, it's not as interesting or beautiful, but it nicely aligns the location of Venus so that we can see her. And now we're going to come down to Earth and look at this we're just going to look at the next couple of weeks, 3 weeks here with the Venus transits. We're going to watch Venus move through that constellation. Really easy, nothing too difficult here. And this is more along with what we see when we're sitting here on Earth. In other words, we don't need to really stretch too far to believe that this is what is happening. So we're watching basically from the 7th through the 26th when Venus moves through Aquarius, and she's separating from the sun. When they get about 10 degrees apart, that's when we can see Venus. That's why the sun is so important in astrology and astrology charts. If you have anything conjunct the sun, it's usually conjunct within an orb of 10 degrees. So if you guys missed that, we can watch that again. But basically, it's a moment where we know Venus is on the eastern side of the sun, but we don't see her yet. So it's like we know we're pregnant, but we're not showing yet. And when Venus finally emerges as the evening star, right around here, around mid-February, this will be the quickening. This is when we can feel movement. This is when we can see the bump showing, right? This is the bud popping off of the stem of the flower. And so this is really a beautiful time. Anytime we have beautiful sunsets and it's the right after the new moon, the waxing crescent, it's just such a lovely, lovely sight. So now let's look at a chart. We're going to watch a chart do the exact same thing. We saw it in the sky, we saw it in 2 different views, we saw it sitting on Earth looking up, and what we do with astrology is we take what's happening in the sky, the real sky, and we put it on the chart, and then that's when we can get into the frequent what does the frequency mean to us? How do we interpret it? And how do we actually work with it? So before let me see. Yeah, let's do the chart view first. And then we'll get into the time map. Let me show you all the movies first. So I did this. I went through the chart and I just moved our handy Mastering the Zodiac wheel forward. And you can watch Venus right here as she moves through Aquarius. She's going to be square Black Moon Lilith and square to Uranus. Then she's going to conjunct the North Node and oppose the South Node. And she will emerge. And then Mercury will station retrograde right as she enters Pisces. And that's going to be the 26th of February. So not a long transit. Aquarius, again, is not a very big constellation for us in real sky astrology. These little movies worked out pretty good because now I don't have to go like back and forth and mess up something. All right, cool. Let me, before we get into the time map, let me just make sure you guys are getting it so far. Not too difficult, right? I wanted to stop sharing. There we go. Stop sharing. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's chat with you guys for a second. All right. Sunny's here. Hello, Sunny. Good to see you. Lori loves Venus. Me too. Goldram says the Venus cycle is so beautiful. It is, and it's amazing. I swear, I believe this. And if you guys don't believe it, that's totally cool. I am convinced that the creator is a mathematician. God is like a crazy on the spectrum writing out code on his chalkboard all the time. Oh, look at that. We got a little confirmation of the Aquarius energy being in 7th house and Venus moving into that. So yeah, this will be a very formative time for you in the next couple of weeks. Lori's got a lot of placements. Harmony Goddess has it in the 2nd and 3rd house. Okay, good. I'm going to get to all these here. Good, good, good. All right. Let's continue because it's going to get much deeper from here and I'm going to have to slow it down a little bit because I realize that none of you have seen the inside of my skull, although I wish you had, because then you would understand it as clearly as I do. But I'm going to try to give this to you as best I can without too much flash. So we'll do the time map view, and y'all have seen the time map view. This is how we study Venus. For those of you that have been following me for a little while, you've seen these calendars. These should not be foreign to you. We are using the Gregorian calendar as our framework because everybody knows that. Everybody knows that today is the 5th of February and it's a Thursday. At least almost everybody does. But there's other meanings to these days, right? The sun is, in Capricorn. The moon is in Virgo today, I think. Yeah, Virgo. So there's different energies. It's not just sun and it's not just what the date is. So we use this as the framework. And then any line you see is the time frame of influence between the aspects that Venus is making. So for example, right here we have Venus square to Uranus. So this is an influence that will occur as long as this aqua line is there. And then here we had the Cancer full moon on Sunday the 1st. And then on the 31st, oh, by the way, guys, our little grandbaby was born on the 31st. Little boy, very healthy. Everybody's doing really good. They're home now and happy. But on the 31st, Venus picked up a sextile to Chiron. So that influence is all this week. So we have the swelling energy of the Cancer full moon. we've got Venus sextile to Chiron. We're in the middle of that Phoenix arc where Sun and Moon are in a Phoenix angle, and here they are again in another Phoenix angle 7 days later. So this is a weird week every month. Like, and for me, anytime lunar energy moves through that like late Cancer, early Leo, I'm like really emotionally sensitive. So, it's been kind of a tender week for me, but thank goodness it hasn't been busy. So I've been able to kind of sit with myself and like go into God mode and think and plan and play the 4D chess with how I want to create my world. And then here you see that Venus moves into Aquarius on the 7th. So right now we're coming into this. What is Venus square to Uranus? Well, Venus square to anything really isn't bad. It's not a bad thing. It's not something we should fear at all, even when it's the malefic planets. Because what happens is that sometimes Venus has nice trine angles, like she will a little bit later with Jupiter, where the energy just flows. It's like Venus and Uranus were trine not too long ago when Uranus was retrograde back here during the new moon. This was easy. It was easy to have flirty, fun conversations, electric ideas, creative inspirations popping off that really didn't go anywhere. But, it was fun. It was fun to like be in the moment of creating and expecting something new. Whereas now we're going to square it. So this means that something unexpected, maybe something electric, shocking, stands in the way of Venus creating. And again, that's not a challenge for Venus. Venus energy is real subtle. It flows like the smoke from a wick that's just been put out. That wick smoke is just kind of subtly flowing upward. And if you were to put a piece of paper over that wick, just a little bit above it, the smoke would not go through the paper, but it would go around it. And eventually it would kind of figure it out. Of course, it's going to be different than it was after encountering that obstacle, but you really can't stop that flow. So something unexpected may pop up here. It's a longer influence, so it's not as electric as like lunar energy hitting a strange Uranus aspect. It's more like these two planets. They also love each other, right? Venus has a retrograde rotation from Earth. So the sun rises in the west and the sun sets in the east. And Uranus has got a sideways orbit, so their rotations are a little funny. Um, the mythology was that Venus came from the severed phallus of Uranus after it fell into the ocean. She became Aphrodite. So these two planets are not foreign to each other. They're familiar with one another. It's just that the OG Uranus is putting up some kind of blockade. Like he's saying, I can't create right now. You'll have to kind of go around me. So there's no merging here with the Uranian energy. It's just sort of going around it. But it doesn't help that Venus is going to move into Aquarius now and kind of take on go into the house of Uranus. So it's as if she walks into his house sort of at odds with him. It'll be okay though. There are other energies we probably should worry about, but I'll show you those in just a little bit. What I want to show you now is the energy wave view of all of this. So when we look at a Venus cycle, it's 584 days. It starts at the superior conjunction, which was January 6th of 2026, and it will go all the way till 2027. The peak right here is when that Venus is retrograde, when she's getting to the center of that spiral that she creates with the Earth. That's right here. That's during retrograde. So the intensity at that moment is the highest it could possibly be. I just realized I have the chat still in there, so I'm going to take that out real quick because that can be distracting. There you go. So what was I saying? And don't worry, you're not late. This is a 20-month cycle. We are still only about maybe 8.5 months away from the peak. These happen to you unconsciously anyway, but when you work with them consciously, that's where the real magic happens. So for this cycle, where you're all joining me, you're all understanding that this is the early part of the Venus cycle. She's literally about to emerge from the western sky. So you should start thinking long term. What do you want to experience? How do you want to serve? What are your dreams, your goals, your desires? Tap into your breath work, ground your body, and then imagine. And when something feels like a yes in your body, learn to recognize that because that is your physical intuition guiding you towards that divine purpose. That's literally what that is. So we're again, we're at the beginning of this cycle. You haven't missed anything. This is where we start from. The retrograde is going to happen on October 23rd. And when we get to this point, this is when we surrender and we release what we've been creating. This is like when the pregnancy is full and ready to, mama's ready to pop, or when that dandelion goes from a yellow flower into a poofy ball of seeds. That's this moment. It's a moment of transition. It's very quick. Venus will disappear for 8 days. This is the descent of Inanna. You can't go through portals like these with a lot of attachments. And it is a potent time for tantric magic. So we've reviewed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways to 6 ways to understand this energy. And now I want to give you the bigger picture. Actually, I might have to come out of this talk real quick and just explain something to y'all. Because I want to make sure that this makes sense to you when I start explaining it. Okay. All right. There's certain topics in physics that not a lot of physicists touch because, they can't get their grants, they won't get endorsed for their PhD, they won't get the forward in their paper written. There's all kinds of reasons why you don't touch certain topics in academic studies. Because, the people that are teaching it, the gatekeepers just don't want to hear it. But doesn't stop people from publishing their work anyway, especially as they get older and they realize, the implications of some of the things that they discovered with their mathematics, with their discoveries. And there is an idea that so you have to understand that the universe is probably fractal, right? And we're in this middle zone where everything is the size that we are. But when we start thinking really big or really small, we see the same repeating patterns. And this suggests that our universe is holographic, meaning that if you could somehow cut out a chunk of reality out of this fabric that we're in right now, it has everything that represents the entirety of reality. So all the universes, all the galaxies, everything would be in that one chunk if you could take it out. And we see that when we scale down and when we scale up, right? So when we look down at an atom, we see, this cloud of stuff orbiting a central focal point of energy, creating a frequency, if you will. Like it creates a frequency that is measured in literal cycles per second or radians because of its spin. And we see that as well with solar systems and with galaxies. It's stunning, the layer of fractality of the reality that we live in. And when we analyze the movements of our planets, because they move so slowly, because their cycles per second are actually like a cycle over a really long time, we actually get to take these, what we would see at the microscopic level with the atom, where the cycles are, thousands of cycles per second. We can actually slow it down and stretch it and observe the exact moment of the compression of the phi wave, which is creation. Okay. So, what I'm going to show you is the astronomical representation of what happens when you set an intention and you set creation into motion. When you literally take an energy or an idea and make it a thing, like something you can touch or grasp on or to make it real. So I hope that makes sense. That's what I'm going to endeavor to explain to you right now. Oh, here we go. Okay. I was explaining it to husband last night, and he was getting it. So I'm feeling good about this. All right, let's get back into this. Let me make sure you guys can see the PowerPoint. Okay. All right. So let's look at the calendrical wave or the fourth dimensional view. So we need to make three key assumptions when we are analyzing it this way. Number one, that there is an ether. In other words, reality has some kind of structured substance that sort of holds everything. Okay. We also must assume that ether has a geometric structure. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to ripple. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to vibrate. So it has some geometry to it. And we also have to assume that energy interacting with ether creates matter. And this is the edge of physics right there. Okay. So physicists that can't get into the mainstream are talking about this, and spiritualists for millennia have been talking about this using different words to describe the same thing. So that there is a substance, there is no such thing as a vacuum. There's always something there. Okay. The ether is geometric and it flows through it, and energy interacting with the ether creates matter. So that's why I'm basically going to show you the Venus principle using these concepts. Okay, here we go. So this is the time map that I have created for us to use while we are analyzing the Venus cycle. And I would like you to notice that we're not quite there yet, but there's Fibonacci numbers down here. So by the time we get to the full moon of this next lunar cycle, we are going to be into the Fibonacci countdown to Venus's inferior retrograde and the peak of her energetic cycle. And when we count down in Fibonacci, you'll notice that the numbers get closer and closer and closer together. So 0 is the 23rd, that's the 22nd, that's the 21st, that's the 20th. If you can see my cursor down here, I think you can. And then, am I sharing? I hope I'm sharing. I'm not sharing. Dang it. Oh my gosh. Share entire screen. It's like 3 buttons you have to click. All right, this is where I was. So here are the 3 assumptions. That's where we'll start from. And then we are going to look at this map. So we didn't get too far into explaining this. This is the Venus calendar. These colors represent the coming seasons of Venus as she moves through the constellations in the real sky. Right? So this area here is Pisces. This area here is Aries. This area here is Taurus. On 5/17, she'll move into Gemini. On 6/11, she moves into Cancer. On 6/26, she moves into Leo. And then on 7/31, she moves into Virgo and will spend a hella long time in Virgo, probably about 3 or 4 months. So we're really going to get to know Venus in Virgo very, very well this year. And I'm excited. Retrograde happens on the 1st of October, and it's the day before one of these Fibonacci numbers. If you guys can see what I've been doing here, I'm counting down to the moment of inferior conjunction. So hopefully this isn't a concept that's too difficult to understand. The circles are your lunar cycles. Each pinch point is a new moon. And those dates are available. We'll get to those when we do the individual lunar cycles. But I wanted you to see it as a time frame in terms of the lunar cycles. These are the months, okay? These are our months, our natural months. We're not looking at a Gregorian calendar anymore, although these tick marks and these labels are orienting you to the Gregorian calendar that we used back here. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. So that's what we're doing, and starting literally right on the next full moon lunar eclipse on the 3rd of March, we are starting this countdown through the lunar cycles. And we'll be using this as a reference point to decode certain energies, whatever comes up, to see what Venus is doing through each of these energies until she approaches inferior conjunction. So here's where it gets really interesting. So you'll notice here, and I want to point this out, that these lines on the timeline, they get closer and closer together. And that's just the nature of the Fibonacci sequence and the golden phi ratio. So what happens here is these are beats in a frequency. So here's a beat, 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 here's a beat. So the frequency of this wave becomes faster and faster together with every rotation of or every beat of its frequency. Let me show you what this looks like in a frequency. So if we were to put a two-dimensional standing wave on this is what it might look like. A wave that becomes more and more compressed as we get to this point, which is usually a singularity. It's a moment where you reach infinity and the laws of physics break, and there's a lot of energy because when you're talking about frequencies, the closer they get together, the higher the energy goes. And you can have a million oscillations per per cycle of time. Those are like really strong gamma waves and gamma rays. So there's that. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Now we have this two-dimensional idea of how the energy of Venus picks up, increases. The pace comes faster and faster as we get closer and closer to this moment. And what happens is it's not just a standing wave in two dimensions. Okay, what I'm trying to explain to you, I'm trying to explain to you a fourth dimensional concept in literally one dimension, which is this up and down wave. So let's look at it in a three-dimensional way or a two-dimensional way. Here you can see that without all the noise of the calendar, this is essentially what we're dealing with when it comes to Venus energy. Now, when we take it into what I've done is this is your timeline now. So this is what this is right here, pointing upward. So you see how the spiral gets closer and closer together. That's what you're literally in. It's not just an up and down. It's going around and around and around and around and around and around and around. And around. That's how the energy feels. Okay? So that's what a frequency wave looks like. And what's so cool is we get to take this compression wave and literally stretch it out over months, which would maybe normally take a flash of a second because creation is instant. And we get to stretch it out over months and really analyze it and look at it. Now, remember the star. We're going to come back to the star here because when we talk about the ether, I want you to start thinking about it as a structure. This is how I think about it, that it is a repeating structure that keeps going, keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. In other words, you can draw the star all the way down to the Planck length, which is the smallest measurable distance that we have. You can repeat this pattern all the way down. You can repeat it all the way out too, and it's the same pattern. This is fractality, and this is a property of our ether, of our space, of our reality. And this particular shape, which is Venus's shape, also has 5 proportions. So I'll show those to you now. This line is 5 proportion to this line, is 5 proportion to this line, to this line, to this line, to this line. So you see, you're getting that compressed wave all the way down, and it's compressing because the space is getting smaller and smaller and smaller down to the Planck length. This is a portal where energy can go all the way down to the very source of matter and give it life and energy. But I don't want you to just think about it as like following these angles or these like it's not necessarily like that. It's more like this, like it's going into it. Whereas this is maybe like a flat two-dimensional way to look at it. Think of it three-dimensionally, where this lightning bolt is coming from you and into the screen you're looking at. Right? That's how that energy flows. That's how it gets compressed down to the Planck level. And what you get is this. You basically get the energy of Venus, the phi spiral, in the geometric ether um, slowed down so much that we can actually watch this process happen. And what's so fascinating is that there are physicists right now that are studying the geometric structure of our ether. There are mathematicians that are creating mathematics around the compression of this spiral. Dan Winters is one of them. Nassim Haramein is another one. And this all comports. This is just my way of sort of visually sharing it with you to show you that this spiral, this is the intention, this is the energy, this is the frequency. When it interacts with the ether, because you saw how the planets were moving, right? They had to. They had to move that way because the ether is structured this way. So when we throw energy into the structure, we get creation, we get movement, we get time. And then there it is again, the spirals. So that's what we've been looking at. That's what we're working with. That's what we're gonna be watching over the next several months. So I hope you guys stay with me on the Venus journeys. We'll check in every couple of weeks to see how that plays out. But I've always known Venus to be a special energy for manifestation, for bringing into the world what you desire. You just have to know what you desire, right? That's the thing. So, all right, let's do a little bit of these houses, and then we'll do the forecast for Venus. Oh, hey, Christine. My sister adept in the yoni magic. We haven't closed the doors on that either, guys. So if you're interested in doing the ascension pathway work with Venus and these dark moons, we are going to keep it open till the eclipse. So that link is below if you're interested. I would recommend catching up on the meetings and then see if it's something that you want to get into. But yeah, we still have a little bit of room for you guys if there's anybody out there that still wants to join. Let's see what you guys think of that. All right. Laura says, with this visual, it punctuates what you were saying. We are not too late at the moment, but our awareness is key to ride the wave efficiently. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, pregnancy is definitely a metaphor that works for the Venus cycle, how it will feel if you're tapped into it. Good. Oh, you guys are so wonderful. Goldie Ram says Neuralink is using part of this for telepathic control for paralyzed patients. Wow, that's cool. Felix Fortune says, great day to Jupiter to all. Awesome. Cool. Let me see. Oh, thank you for the congratulations on the little baby boy. Yes, yes, yes. That was exciting. Everyone's nervous until the baby comes, because I mean, literally what I do. It's so many things can go wrong, but it went good. Good, good, good. Let me see. I want to read some Aquarius houses for you guys. So let me find those. Let me go back a little bit. All right. Logarithmic overhaul has Venus in the has Aquarius in the 12th house. So let's read that. This will be dreaming in code. Venus in Aquarius here moves through the mystical and the etheric. You create from visions, from symbols, from starlight. Love is spiritual, transcendent, and often hard to explain. When blocked, you may feel lost in the invisible or overwhelmed by the need to stay outside the norm. So that'll be the 12th house transit for you, algorithmic overhaul. Lori has houses 4 and 5. So, for the fourth house, this is the electric root. Venus in Aquarius here makes the home a sacred lab of consciousness. Family patterns may become unconventional, chosen, or non traditional. You create safety through freedom. When blocked, you may feel disconnected from your past or alienated from emotional grounding. We did the seventh and eighth houses. Let's see, dead center of sixth and seventh. So let's read six. Serving the collective through innovation. Venus in Aquarius here brings brilliance to your rituals, to creativity, to your routines, and genius to your work. You love through progress and reform. When blocked, you may resist structure altogether or feel overwhelmed by chaos. Let's see, we have everybody's cuspy with their Aquarius. First and second house. Okay, let's do second house. So when Venus moves through Aquarius, we generate wealth through invention. Venus in Aquarius here values unconventional resources, collective exchange, and liberated abundance. You find pleasure in freedom and unpredictability, and when blocked, you might feel anxious about stability or mistrust your ability to receive. And then the third house, if Venus is in Aquarius in your third house, this is activating speaking enlightening codes. Venus in Aquarius here communicates with clarity, brilliance, and a touch of rebellion. You love through words that awaken and connect. When blocked, you may become scattered or use intellect to avoid emotional depth. Let's see if there's any more new ones here. Royal Bliss is here. Hello, hello. All right. Just scanning the chat, make sure I didn't miss anything. If I missed stuff, I'm sorry, you guys. Oh, yeah. Christine, Yoni Magic, learning where you banish yourself, plus your sacred sensual soul. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm actually working on the root chakra meditation. It's gonna be guided by me. It's gonna have a beautiful frequency, original music. Richard, I wish I knew what you were talking about there with the Venus Dasha. I know it's a Vedic timing thing, but I don't know. I don't know. Aquarius and Mercury in the seventh. Let's see. Seventh house. Oh, we read that one. We read that one. Okay, good. Nobody has a Aquarius in the fifth? Aquarius in the 11th? You Aries rising will have 11th house. Aquarius is. All right, good. Let's get into the astrology because that's what we do here on this channel, right? I just wanted you guys to see like the way that you can think about Venus energy is the impulse of creation. This is how things become through this process, through the spiral of energy and intention through the ether. And the the Venus numerology, the Venus structure that bears out when she orbits is a beautiful way to understand that. Is this how it actually works? I think so. I mean, there's the microscopic math shows this, and we can actually watch it in the sky, spread out, super slow. I just think that's so cool. Christine has a ninth house Aquarius. Let me do that real quick. So, Venus in Aquarius finds beauty in the unknown, the futuristic, and the intergalactic. You will be turned on by new philosophies, new teachings, and new paradigms. When blocked, you may reject embodied wisdom in favor of abstract truths. Oh, we have a sixth house Aquarius. Okay, let's see. You serve the collective through innovation. A Venus here brings brilliance to your rituals, creativity to your routines, and genius to your work. You love through progress and reform. When blocked, you may resist altogether or feel overwhelmed by chaos. All right. Let's do the forecast and get you guys on your way. Let's see. Let me take that off of there. And here we go. This forecast will probably be received so differently now that you have all that background information. because it's not your mother's astrology, not at all. Let's make sure you guys can see that. Just check in. Yep, looks like it's working. Okay, so this is the calendar advanced a little bit. So we're right here now. Before we were down here, now we're up here. So we have a couple more weeks to consider when we're looking forward and the energies we can anticipate. Let me get my little marker out here so we can doodle a bit. And we've talked about this square, what that might mean. That's going to last all the way till next Friday, the Friday the 13th. So again, Uranus doesn't really want to flow with Venus. So Venus has to flow around Uranus. So anything that's unexpected or quirky or weird, you're just going to have to kind of let it, leave it alone for a minute and do you until the square's over. Venus will move into Uranus's house. So there could be some facing off with that energy. There could be a confrontation around it depending on where your Venus and your Uranus are in your own chart. Because if it's like a 10 and a 7 kind of a square, where Venus is in your 10th house square to Uranus on your 7th house, there might be work things happening that's affecting your relationships and vice versa. Venus will make a golden phoenix angle to Jupiter these 3 days, and this should be good because when these two get together, it's like they just love each other. The billionaire and the millionaire planet. There can be a tendency for excess with the both of these things because Venus wants luxury and love and splendor, and Jupiter it wants to give it to you, and so sometimes you can have too much of that. I don't agree with that, but anyway, what is a phoenix angle? That is 137.5 degrees, and it's the golden angle in a circle. So it equals has a 1.618 ratio. So we love that angle, especially for Venus. And it also plays out numerologically for the moon. But anyway, Venus is making that angle to Jupiter. And what I've found with this angle is it's a loading energy, right? So if there isn't enough there to make anything happen, it might not happen. But if there's some kind of tension that's sort of already there, it can break things apart that need to be broken apart. And it actually feels good when it happens. And then you look back and you're like, yes, that was supposed to happen. So these can be they can feel very karmic. They can feel very fated. You can be surprised and happy once it's over. So this is around finances. So something might spark or click or pop with money, and then you'll be like, whoa, what just happened? And then you'll be like, holy smoke, that just happened. That's amazing. So it might be something like that. Uh, Venus is going to have to reconcile with her shadow energy for a good week here from the 10th to the 20th in a square to Black Moon Lilith. So this is, again, squares with Venus. I don't think they're hard. It's just that Venus will actually have to face the shadow because Venus can bypass the shadow. But here I don't think she'll be able to. But Black Moon Lilith is very, very well supported in the chart. She's in a sextile to Pluto, which is in a sextile to Uranus and or Neptune and Saturn, which is in a sextile to Uranus. So all these beautiful sextiles going on, and Uranus or Black Moon Lilith is like a chain reaction. So I think what this will open up is, where have you banished yourself? Where have you not listened to the intuition in your body? Maybe there's a clearing or a cathartic moment here. Sometimes people can have an illness when they're starting this work, the shadow work, because you're purging. That means you're already healing, by the way. If you get sick, it means something's already purging. So be really nice to your body this week around Valentine's weekend and after, especially as we get into this new moon window, this dark moon, guys. This is a powerful, powerful window. Don't get pregnant either between this window. Like, just don't do it. So we're going to have that. Plus, Venus is going to be transiting over the North Node during this eclipse as we move in here. So we'll have the square to Black Moon Lilith. We'll have this karmic connection to the North Node. So it's almost as if we have to face our shadows. Like if we don't, it's going to be more painful than if we did. And I think it's all for us because, again, we're moving into Sun Aquarius season. Venus is already here in Aquarius. Mercury's also in Aquarius. We'll be entering Pisces shortly after and then retrograding going backwards. But all this Aquarius energy, Aquarius has a very high emotional intelligence. We're not sitting here crying or feeling sorry for ourselves. We're like, "Yep, okay, that happened. All right." We're looking at it with curiosity. We're looking at it with like, wow, like a scientist almost. Pluto and Scorpio or Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio, she's not like, "Woe is me." She's like the investigator. Like, let's get in there. Let's get deep. Let's figure out what's blocking you. So this could be a wonderful portal right here for you to not only connect with like your purpose, but also to clear away things you don't need and move through this solar eclipse window with some really clean intentions. So I like that. I like that a lot because when we come out of it on the 18th, we Venus, and we should all be loving this. This will feel good. This will feel like there's a spark of life in the air again. Like if you've been feeling kind of cooped up, or maybe if you've been feeling like stuck in a rut of sorts, it's all going to break open this week. Like things are just going to start happening. Um, I'm not going to brag, but I'm going to brag. When I look at my chart, this Venus is over my natal Jupiter, and this Jupiter is over my natal Venus. And they're already trying in my chart. So I get like the double super duper scoop of Jupiter and Venus energy this coming week. So feeling very blessed to have that right after this dark moon, because this is also when we start that the Venus work with the Yoni magic seekers, adepts, and initiates. So we're starting right here. Really special time, very, very special. And this whole journey for us is based on this Venus journey. That's why the container sort of culminates the same time that Venus energy culminates. As Mercury is stationing retrograde, we will have Venus moving into Pisces. And that's a wholly different energy. That was last March. If you guys remember when Venus was retrograde the last time, I wonder how this will feel for us. I haven't really looked at that yet, but last year for me, it was this white serpent, this white dragon energy, but it was also retrograde. So I don't know. It might have been kind of conflicting messages coming from the goddess about what needed to be expressed. So we'll see what she's like when she's just in her normal, direct evening star phase. After switching into Pisces, then we sextile to Uranus. So you see the pattern. It was a trine and then a square to Uranus, and now a sextile to Uranus. And then we will pick up a conjunction to Saturn and Neptune while we're there. On the 3rd, we have the lunar eclipse. And then this day right here, day 4 or March 4th, is day 233 of our Fibonacci countdown. So this is where it starts. This energy wave that we've just analyzed and we've just looked at. And we dip into these forecasts every couple of weeks, and we're right here now. So let's see what's happening next week. Let's write this on the calendar. Help get us oriented. We'll have we have Stellar Foundations office hours 1. We've got our kicks. We've got Ascend the Matrix. We got Annalena Fuchs coming right here. Annalena is coming to visit us. Let's see. We have our Stargazers Zoom call here. And that's at, I think I said 5 p.m., right? So a lot of stuff coming this week as we close out this moon and move into the next phase and begin the countdown of energy. What else? I feel like I'm forgetting something else. I think that's it. All right. Cool, guys. Well, that was our presentation. I hope you guys got something out of that. I hope you guys can see the amazing beauty of this planet. Not just its energy, but like it's math, it's geometry, it's everything that is also the creator. It's just so beautiful. Let's see. Oh, 33 were watching, that's cool. All right, we'll take some, questions here too, let's see. Committed Energy asks, "I'm curious, does a person researched by birthday or date of rebirth after a flatline?" I've done both for people. Actually, I've had people give me their birth date of their walk-in date. I've had people give me their rebirth day, birth date, and for them, it's like a super advanced request. But I've done that. Yeah, it's doable, especially if you really have gone through some stuff. All right, let's see. All right, sounds like you guys are having a good chat. Here we go. It was the year of the dragon last year. Yep, Quantumania. Yeah, and whenever I mean, it was crazy. I went on. It all started in January with Venus. I was anticipating the March retrograde, but I went into I did like a drum circle, and it was like find your spirit animal, find your spirit guide, and I was when I went into that space, it was the a white snake. It kinda took me into this hall where there were all these, like, white serpents and dragons and stuff, and they were waiting something to come down from the ceiling, like, they were waiting for something to be birthed, and, I even did a meditation on, serpentine light language, we did that, so, that came through very strongly last year, and it could have been because it was the year of the snake, or it could have been because this was how I was kind of interpreting Venus energy through Pisces, through that watery depth, through the spiritual, mystical depths. Yep. So, Hellenistic astrologers, medical astrologers from the pre-Renaissance period found a correlation with miscarriage and abnormal pregnancies 3 days prior to an eclipse, between eclipses, and 3 days after. So it's documented in the medical Renaissance literature, and they recommend not getting pregnant. I mean, you might be able to get away with it, but um, I do notice more miscarriages about 6 to 7 weeks after we have had an eclipse. Mm. Star Lee asks, any advice for a two? You mean like your life path number? Were you an 11? Or did it just, I'm wondering. Well, so when you follow the numbers, right? One is the all. That's one. That is the source of all things. And then two is the first distortion. It's look at me, I look at you. We are two. We see each other. And then that creates a balance. And then they want to expand, and then so they create a third. And so the two is always about duality. It's always about balance and harmony as well. You can think of the yin yang symbol, and there's a pathway there in the middle that sort of has to walk that line between the dark and the light and the good and the evil. Um, yeah, so you just need to stay balanced. You're probably one of those people where, like, if you walk into a room and everybody's like really angry, or there's loud talking, you'll come in with a cool, easy voice to kind of pull it back to the middle. Or if everyone's like really sleepy, you might clap your hands and try to wake everybody up just to kind of bring up the baseline a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, I don't recommend conception around eclipses. All right, cool. Well, this was so wonderful to hang out with you guys. I'm just looking to see if there's any questions I missed. Sunny's gonna shift into the adept. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be very magical. I've already, like, been there, like, in my own mind. I've been there so many times, it's already, like, happened. So, um, it'll be cool. Let's see. Good, good. All right. Well, I'm glad you guys are resonating with the teaching. It doesn't look like anybody's really confused, so that's great. And we have a good idea of how things are coming along in the next, days and weeks. We just have to hold on. Like, I think we definitely need to stop, this is the whole point of this talk, Venus breaks the timeline, meaning that you can sit there and doom scroll, you can watch TV, you can get all into whatever that drama is, but know that when you stop looking at it, you will have so much space for more beautiful, amazing things that are happening all around you all the time. And Venus is, I think it's God's beautiful planet to show us the beautiful mathematical synchronicities that are also all around us, to show us how powerful we are if we just have the eyes to see it. And so you guys are all so beautiful and wonderful. You are the elite. I love y'all so much for being here. We did have a request to hear the song again, so I will put that on there. Vishal did an intro video with part of the song. He didn't do the whole thing, so I've asked him to do the whole thing, and we should have that hopefully in a couple days. But that's all I got for you all. So I will sign out and we'll see you guys next week on all the various podcasts. I'm so excited. You all have a wonderful day and much love to all of you. Switch to that. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to get it to play. There we go.
She reads the body like a weathered map, knows where the fault lines they can crack. Hands steady, eyes on fire, delivers life, then climbs still higher. By daylight she is science and bone, by night she listens to the unknown. She doesn't borrow truth from borrowed name. She watches planets burn their own arcane flame. She is the physician of stars, with her feet in the water and her soul on Mars. Counting cycles, breaking scars, midwife for worlds, wherever you are. She doesn't follow the clock or the crowd. She listens to the sky and she listens out loud. Braided hair catching solar wind, ice blue eyes that see through skin. She doesn't ask permission to know, she lets the real constellation show. 13 pathways, one long arc. She walks the edge between dark and spark. She's not afraid of the void or flame. She knows rebirth never comes the same. She is the physician of stars. She knows rebirth never comes the same. She is the physician of stars, with blood and myth in perfect accord, holding heaven inside her scars, writing medicine straight into the cord. She doesn't pray to the older skies, she reads the truth written in the sky. She loves the ocean and the thrill of speed, wind in her hair, no need to plead. Fire in her lungs, lightning in hips, truth on her tongue, no practice slips. She cannot lie, she cannot fold. She was born remembering what others forgot to be told. She is the physician of stars, delivering futures with steady hands, breaking cages, bending bars, teaching time how to understand. She doesn't dim, she doesn't wait, she opens gates that others call fate. And when the sky forgets its name,